And you're right, I'm wrong. I don't know about race cars.
Hey everybody, welcome to Turn 4 Talk with Pops and Nate. I'm Nate and this is Pops, of course. We're happy to have you. Cup off weekend with the Easter holiday. The driver's probably happy to have enjoyed a few days off. Not all of them took it, a few of them did double duty, but for the most part, it was a fun weekend at Rockingham. So we'll dive on in.
Yeah, hippity hoppity, man. We're on our way. I love it.
Well, I'll start with the track as a whole. I think Rockingham is such a neat place. I love that we've gone back to it. I mean, we've finally, in the last few years, gone back to some roots with Rockingham and North Wilkesboro and just kind of finding our home here. Places that were abandoned in a sense, or at least from the sport. And I think it's such a cool thing to be back there.
IHRA, man, International Hot Rod Association, man. They came in, took over being stewards of that track. They got big plans. I think it's really awesome, man. And people took the train there, and Kyle Petty was there to greet them when they pulled into the station. I mean, they're doing great with that.
Well, you mentioned one of the things I was going to talk about is the train. Is I think it's one of the coolest things. It's one of the few tracks that have train tracks that run to it. But the fact that the state of North Carolina pretty much ran at least a train to get fans to and from for the race weekend from a couple major cities and a couple of stops along the way, I think that's really big and it really shows an innovative growth towards this track and just North Carolina racing in general. I think it's really awesome, and I wish I lived on the train part of North Carolina that had the train path. But beggars can't be choosers. I'm still think it's a really cool thing. I wish I could have just been taking one of those trains over to the races. Oh,
Yeah, as much as you want to see Cup race there, I mean, I think this should be Easter weekend tradition, man. Trucks and Xfinity like that. I mean, it gives them that place, man. It really does. How do you feel about that?
actually, you were touched right on where I was feeling this. I genuinely think that yeah, it'd be really cool to see the cup cars there. But I just think with the way that, and I won't be a hater, but the way these next gen cars have ran on the short tracks, I feel like it would hinder the track's experience. And I think there's just something special. And we don't have that many tracks, honestly, anymore that are not companion events to the main series. So to have this little one-off weekend of something special, it just kind of makes it a mecca in its own sense. And it's such a cool place. And both races this weekend were amazing. And we'll obviously get into that. But I think I'm okay with the Cup Series not coming back here, at least not yet. Maybe if they figure out the track package, but for the short term, at least for the foreseeable future, this is something special, and let's enjoy every moment of it.
It's a mini bank speedway. I mean, the history of that track. I mean, I know they did the repave. It's I went down memory lane and listened to the '94 race there when Dale Senior clinched his seventh. It was a good listen. Just to go back then. But that's an awesome track. It really, really is.
Yeah, and I mean, comparably, like the original revival process when the Truck Series tried to come in and do it a few years ago, or I guess it was nearly 10 plus years ago in 2013, give or take, when they ran the trucks there for a year or two.
Chase
Um,
won there.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it was
modified. Yeah,
it was
light model.
definitely
Excuse me.
yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I
no,
just had a
but
flashback of that.
but it was definitely a fun weekend. It just fizzled out after about a year and a half, 2 years, and they didn't get what they wanted, so they kind of stuck with something else. And you know, it's cool to kind of see it finally sticking. And the viewership, at least the CW announced the numbers, was a lot higher than the comparable rate. It was 11% higher, 12% higher than the comparable race last year. So I mean, that's a big move forward, and there was probably a lot of people who got to enjoy their Saturday and watching the race here.
I know I enjoyed it, so that was awesome.
Speaking of the races, we won't spend the whole day talking about the racetrack. We'll talk a little about what's going on with the trucks, at least to start. Obviously, that was the first of the big shows, or the two car runs this weekend. What was your big stick out for the weekend?
I'm trying to wrap my head around the whole, the points thing. Because, like, Corey Heim was like, he's leading the points. He's not leading the chase points. So I was all like, wait, how's he doing that? And then, took a little diving in and asking a few questions, not to be too blown away. But again, here he comes. This guy's on a roll, man.
Yeah,
Talent.
that was the one of the few things NASCAR kept with everything was despite changing from the win and you're in and the full playoff format, they kept the needing to compete for or at least try to attempt to qualify for every single race of the season. Um, so weirdly enough, Corey Heim might, in some weird way or fashion, end up leading the points into the playoffs, and or I say playoffs, the chase, and still not actually qualify. And I think that's a weird thing. I mean, at some point, push is going to come to shove. Somebody's going to overtake him. You think, but it's so odd to think that somebody who's leading the points, especially after not competing in every race, is not going to be there at the end. I mean, in the sense of competing for a title.
Well, they're going to be a manufacturer for that truck for sure. And you got Briscoe in it this weekend at Briscoe, which is interesting that they did that. But that, not to take away from, Hayden, but,
Yeah. Well, I mean, interestingly enough, my favorite fact of the whole weekend is that Corey Heim is the first driver to have won in 10 plus years in both the number one and the number five trucks separately. Last weekend was in the five, and then this past weekend in the one. He's the first to do something different. I mean, both those numbers have been winning numbers, but it's almost kind of surprising that he's kind of setting a new standard, especially considering how many cup drivers and how many notable names have been in both of those trucks separately over the last 3 to 5 years.
yeah, that's a really solid point. I mean, but hey, he's been proving us wrong. And, yeah, he's definitely legendary. I'll tell you that.
And there were some other interesting tidbits points wise too. I mean, obviously, uh, we had failing inspection caused a whole issue. I mean, do you want to elaborate on that a little
Yeah,
bit?
the front row motorsports. I mean, those guys were third and fourth. They were chasing those Tricon guys, but Riggs has been climbing steadily. But I mean, it gives me flashbacks to Daytona again when the 48, won the race and they just yanked it from him because it's too low. It passed pre but failed post. But yeah, Gillian definitely took a hit in that one, man. That's gotta.
Yeah, it's been a long season for sure for that team. I mean, they've had the speed and they've been one of the few that can compete at least with the Tricon trucks, but it's definitely been hard on them. Besides that, it was a relatively quiet truck race. I mean, there was a few bumps and spins here and there, but for the most part, it was just good old fashioned racing with the heart. I gotta say. So.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You definitely kept us all entertained for sure.
And unless you have anything else, I think we dive right into the O'Reilly series. Probably start with the big hot button topic that everyone's talked to death already, but how do you not talk about Cletus? So,
Hey, we're touching base around him. Like I said, I'm not a big fan. I've watched some of his stuff recently. Excited about some of the stuff he's done too. He's definitely pulled me in a little bit as curious to watch, but yeah, you definitely seen some stuff on him. What are you thinking, man?
well, I think in the long story short of it is I think Cletus is good for the sport. I think he's got a good mindset. He's very in the right place, and I don't think he's some Joe Schmo who's showing up and getting some free ride just because he's nobody, or somebody, I guess. But I think there is a learning curve. Clearly, NASCAR said that he needs a little more loving before they let him go to Talladega in the O'Reilly series, which I respect. And I'm not saying that he does deserve that ride, but my big takeaway with him from the whole weekend is he might have had three little spins, but he brought the car home clean. He didn't take anyone else out. He didn't ruin anyone else's race. He didn't screw up the lead pack. There is a learning curve to it, but if you take those spins out of it, he was just another backmarker driver, which is kind of okay. I mean, I don't think he's detrimental and like this deserving of all this hard time. He has a lot to learn, and I don't even say that the O'Reilly series isn't good for him. I just think that he's not this like crutch on the sport this year, at least especially in this series.
He was top five in the ARCA race at the same track, like the night before. I mean, him and Squirrel ran together. I mean, he's not a slouch. I mean, he's learning. I mean, I've said it before. Like, someone gave me a Cup ride or a Xfinity ride or Xfinity. My apologies, O'Reilly. I would you turn it down? No, you wouldn't. You'd have to go learn. I mean, it blows my mind where you have Hall of Famer drivers saying one week like, "Yo, blackout, blank out the noise around you," and then the next week they're like, "Yeah, NASCAR can't give this guy a license because for the Talladega race." So he gave him the noise that he told him not to listen to.
And I think the biggest thing to take away from that, what you all said, at least in my opinion, is the fact that he had mentioned that he has more support and he's learned so much alone just from being in the RCR development camp in a sense, that he finished top five in ARCA. And I don't think he would have done that if he hadn't had some sim time, some coaching, some people around him to talk him through it. Yeah, obviously he wasn't ready for the next step to run top five in the O'Reilly series, but I really think that should be a precedent and show that he is learning, he's willing to put in the time, and every little thing he's trying to soak up. It's starting to pay off in a sense. But
He was spinning out by himself when he was practicing that Rockingham. I mean, he was pushing the car to learn it. So kudos to him. I know he's learning that pit row thing too. He's not at Talladega going full bore in a Crown Vic down pit row. But
yeah, and so I think obviously moving off of him though, we'll have to talk about the actual top dogs. William Swalch gets his first win, which was only a time coming. Speaking of ARCA, especially, I mean he was the top name in ARCA, and it was just a matter of time before he finally got that win in another series and moving up. And I think if there's ever seats to be reckoned, he can really make a name for himself. And I think we'll be hearing a little more Swallows through the rest of the season.
yeah, Corey Day, man, he got the ball, led 181. I mean, the pit stop pinched him, but he just couldn't get back there. We're seeing progress out of him as well. Um, it was good. You don't wish anything on Swallow, but a lot of people seen talent in him over the years, so we're just waiting for him to come today.
Yeah, and that's funny. I think alternatively,
There wasn't a pun.
we'd seen Allgaier running up front too all day, which continues his great season of just proving Father Time wrong and just chugging along. I really, Quapple was up there for a good bit. It was a lot of the Chevy drivers early.
Raja.
Yeah, Raja, which was funny watching Raja battle along and with the guy he was sitting there talking to last weekend, having a heart to heart, and they were beating and banging early in the first stage next to each other, and just like, all right, and a great talk they had. But
They didn't wreck each other. There you go. Solid competitors, man. That's what you want. That's what we tune in to see.
yeah, I mean that's just good racing, and most of the wrecks and kind of spins throughout the weekend weren't too anything crazy. Just some people getting loose. Usually, mostly all single car accidents. It wasn't any big pileups or nothing. But all in all, I think it was just a nice little quiet Easter weekend racing, and I don't know what else you'd ask for.
It was a good show. It really was. One thing that hit me watching this is like, I'm like, where's the Fords, man? I just like longtime Ford Bill Elliott fan. I'm still secretly a closet Ford dude. I'm like, where's the Ford? I mean, I feel like they've been invested in F1 so much. Are they like they're no development drivers? They're running on shoestrings. They're just enough to support the
Yeah.
Cup Series and a little down towards the trucks. I guess trucks are sellers, so they're gonna support that series. So, but yeah, you kind of feel like you're missing it just a bit.
I mean, the 5 and the 25, 25 because of or after the whole Roger incident with our, I wouldn't say friend either, but after that whole scandal and Daniel Dye, that 25 was clearly getting funded from somewhere, and they disappeared from the schedule for the week. The 5 was headed that way, and JJ Yaley pulled in some sponsors with a diecast company or diecast sales company. So they'll be running Bristol this upcoming weekend, so they're not totally off. But there was a small minute there where it looked like there wasn't going to be a single Ford in the field, and Ford has clearly made it, I think, even public, that they just don't get enough value from the Xfinity's. I did it myself, the O'Reilly series, and that they feel like the trucks and the Cup are where their bread and butter's at. But it really just makes you wonder how there's a lack of Ford teams. I mean, there's literally two, and one of them hasn't shown up already once, and the other one's kind of sitting there debating not showing up. You really think that they want it. I mean, especially considering Toyota puts in so much effort and money into that series to get these cars going, and Chevy obviously dominates the series. It, I mean, I'll take it with a grain of salt, but you really wonder kind of where their headset's at.
Yeah, and you say that they're not getting their value out of O'Reilly series. O'Reilly series viewership is going up, 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 up. Meanwhile, Cup is going down, down, down. And yeah, I mean, I'm in the hardware store, and there's two old guys going, "What channel's that race on? I don't have no Prime." And I'm just sitting in the back going, listening, like, man, these guys, like, I got these channels, but um, you got to think this weekend. I mean, even NBC, it's not on NBC; it's on their affiliate. You know what I mean? So it's harder to watch some of these races. So makes you wonder.
Which,
But in the series of
which is a
sales,
big thing with the O'Reilly series. Is it's on CW. It's every week too. You don't have to know. You don't have to wonder where it's at. You know, whether you have it or not, you know the channel it's going to be on. You know that you can tune in, and if you have it, you're going to have it for the whole season. And they've been putting on a good show. I really think that they have a formula. And while I've understood the NASCAR Cup TV rights pack, I mean, it's been that way for as long as I can imagine. Back in 2001, it was Fox in the beginning of the season, and then you had TNT, was it TNT later in the
NBC
season?
it was
Yeah,
there, and CBS had a jab here and there for a while.
but
But that was prime time.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
no,
You can get
exactly,
those channels.
exactly. And the season split, but trying to find the truck race on FS2, and you have the basic sports package and you don't have FS2, it's, you beat your head against the wall. But I mean, I have a pair of rabbit ears and I watch every O'Reilly race, and
Yeah, that's that. I mean, even going to the track, you break those out, and you got the channel, which is awesome. I complained at first CW, and then I found how easily accessible it is, and you can too.
oh yeah. Well, we got everyone coming up to Bristol this weekend. It should be a fun little race weekend itself. Bristol's always a good time. Probably won't be as crazy with the tire situation as last year directly, but I think it's always great when you go there. We get to see how everything plays out. I believe all three series are running, and it's gonna
Yeah,
be a nice little show. So,
Goodyear's playing with that rubber compound, man. They were balancing the temperatures, and they feel like that's gonna create the wear. It's amazing that they have some additive that they're putting in these tires. Where has this been for 30 years? But well, at least they're trying.
I think over time things develop, and that's, you gotta give Goodyear a lot of credit. I mean, if there's one thing that we haven't really been able to smack talk all year, is been the tires. I mean, it may not be the ideal set of tires that every NASCAR fan wants, but they're giving something that wears. They're giving something that runs and will blow. And at the end of the day, I really can't fault Goodyear at this point for any of the failures of a bad race, quote unquote.
It's we've learned it's the teams. They give that recommended pressure. And just like every team, we're gonna push the envelopes. And that's when you get that tire cordon or camber or something. So
Oh yeah. Any closing thoughts?
man, I think the good old Thunder Valley, the last Coliseum, man. You guys get out there, watch it. I wish I could be there. I got my list of tracks this year, but that one's on my list, man, and it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one, and
Yeah, I gotta say, we'll kind of just nice. I mean, Bristol's Bristol. It's always a fun place to watch. Can't go wrong with it. I'm curious to see how the Cup Series kind of comes back from an off weekend, and how guys like Reddick, who's been so hot, can they stay hot? Chase Elliott, who just got a win, can he stay hot? Does somebody else come back after having a week of sitting in the void, or having been in the void and sitting there to kind of recoup things? Do guys, where's the mid pack at? How does this play with the points? Well, there's a lot to talk about, but I think only time will tell, and the weekend will show.
yeah, man. Hope the weather holds out. We're all good to go, man.
Yeah. So I guess that's it for this week.
Yeah, with that said, man, we love you all. Thanks for watching. Smash that like, smash that subscribe. Check us out on our social media pages. We thank you very much, man. We'll catch you next time, man. Send us some questions, nothing too crazy, but we dig you, man. Happy racing.
Thank you.
I've done nothing wrong, and I will not tolerate it.